Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
I'm Christian.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As always, free Palestine and everywhere else that needs to be freed from tyranny. It's rough out here. It's real rough. But yeah, what have you been watching lately?
I have spent the most time I've spent in a theater in a while, and also seeing a lot of live things. Um, so did see Brand New Day, which definitely going to be talking about, and saw the Odyssey with you. So, um, overall, those have been the films that I've watched recently. As far as television goes, I've been watching random reality television. I don't know how that happened, but yeah, I've been watching some reality television stuff like America's Ugliest Home, and it's like I don't know, it's just kind of like just candy, like watching candy. Um, so yeah, overall, it's mainly been stuff like that, along with just me watching YouTube and like this is more of a live thing, but I did see comedian Reggie Watts, who was a longtime favorite comedian of mine. So seeing him do his thing was cool. And yeah, I've been going to places that things are meant to be seen more, and it's kind of invigorating. So yeah, that's what I've been up to. What have you seen?
Yeah, that's cool. I watched Kung Fu Hustle with my friends on our bi-weekly uh, movie night. And Kung Fu Hustle is such a good movie. Have you seen Kung Fu Hustle?
Fortunately, no.
Ah, Kung Fu Hustle is so good. It feels like if it definitely feels like an anime come to life in a lot of ways. It's a Chinese martial arts comedy film, and it leans heavily into comedy, but it has a lot of really good martial arts as well. And hold on, let me look up. Have you ever seen Shaolin Soccer?
I have not seen
Yes,
that either.
same director, Stephen Chow, who
Yeah.
also has some other movies I need to see that he hasn't necessarily directed all of them, but he starred in that. That also he's a great comedic actor and and martial artist. It's just it's so good. It's such a good movie. It's one of my favorite martial arts movies. And yeah, one of my friends was like, yeah, they suggested. I was like, we should watch Kung Fu Hustle. Still,
And
yeah, go ahead.
oh yeah, but like in university, it was one of my friends. He would always he was a kung fu hustle Stephen Chow advocate, like in regards to Shaolin soccer, kung fu hustle, all of that stuff. And I need to fix that. I really really need to fix that.
Yeah, I need to go back and just watch a lot of older kung fu movies because there's a fair amount I haven't seen. I grew up watching a lot of the Shaw Brothers stuff with my dad. A lot of the
Mm.
like '70s ones. Like I watched,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I watched 36 Chambers of Shaolin.
Mm.
I also
Okay.
can't tell you how many times I listened to that album either. But
Right.
my dad's from Brooklyn, so that was my life growing up.
Yeah, that was like that was like sacred text.
For sure. Yeah, so I grew up listening to Wu Tang, watching kung fu movies.
Mm.
But I've also actually not lately. It's actually been a while since I've watched it. I need to finish it. But I since I put it in my notes, I had watched some episodes of Spider Noir. I need to finish it. I just there's a lot to watch. I'm also busy with a new job, so I got to get back to it.
Right.
What I am watching consistently because it's weekly versus Spider Noir, which should have been weekly, and I would have watched consistently if it was. I've been watching House of the Dragon, which has been really
Mm.
good.
Okay. Okay.
I'm still enjoying it, but it definitely has been on a steady decline since season one. There's just
Really.
been a ton of wasted characters and potential character arcs, especially when I hear about how certain characters are depicted in the book by comparison. Allison, especially, has been very much a wasted character since season two. It's very unfortunate because I hear about like what she's like in the book and I'm like, she would have been so much more interesting that way.
Mm.
Yeah, but I'm still enjoying it for what it is, but it could be better. And eventually I gotta reread the first book and read more of that. But I got some other books in my deck I need to finish first. I need to finish Mistborn and then get back into the Popular Wars before I hop into a new fantasy book. I saw Evil Did Burn, and
Ooh,
I
yeah.
expected it to be plenty gory, being that it's an Evil Dead movie, but it was somehow even gorier than I thought it would be.
Mm,
It was really good. Uh, Great action, dare I say?
yeah.
Action movie. I mean, Evil Dead movies always have action to an extent. And the stunts in this are really good. The visual effects are awesome, and the story was very much it was a story essentially about domestic violence was like the main theme of the movie, and it's being told through demonic possession.
Mm.
And yeah, I love Evil Dead. The only one I still haven't seen is the 2013 one. I need to watch that.
Okay.
But Evil Dead Rise was great. I really liked Evil Dead Burn. I gotta rewatch Evil Dead Rise. I only saw it once in theaters, I believe. But yeah, I'm excited that Evil Dead still going strong.
Yeah. I like what it's turned into. Like, I think we've talked about this before, but the fact that it's kind of like a horror film initiation franchise of like getting like still in the beginning of the career, or sometimes like it's like a rite of passage, and I think that's very cool. It's like it's almost like a club in a way of like passing down Evil Dead to the next generation.
Yeah, definitely. And lastly, we saw the Odyssey together, and I also saw Spider-Man: Brand New Day. So we'll talk about that, both of those at the very end. But yeah, getting into trailers and news. San Diego Comic Con was a few weeks ago as a recording, so there's gonna be plenty of news from that specifically that we go over. But starting with a live action adaptation of Look Back, which is a manga by uh, Tatsuki Fujimoto, which is the creator of Chainsaw Man, and it is being edited and adapted for screen by the Oscar-nominated filmmaker Hirokazu Korida, who directed Shoplifters.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's this is interesting because it also got an animated adaptation a couple years ago in 2024 by Studio Durian, and this is I can't remember if this was the first or second of the short stories that Fujimoto did, kind of like in the middle of also doing Chainsaw Man, where it like really showed you just how great of a writer Fujimoto is. Chainsaw Man is already wonderfully written, but because of how just wacky and weird it is, you kind of
Right.
it distracts you from just how well written of a story it is sometimes. But those stories, they can get wacky sometimes, like to an extent at certain points, but they're so much more like they're very grounded. Look Back and the other short story I can't remember the name of, they're both very grounded in reality, um, and don't get too fantastical. And yeah, it just really shows how great of a writer Fujimoto is, and the animated adaptation was really good. And I wasn't expecting for it to get a live action adaptation, but it's definitely it's one of the few kind of like manga anime that I'm like, yeah, that could be adapted in live action. It'd be great.
Right.
So yeah, I'm excited to see if it's any different because they could just do it straightforward, and that would work. But I don't know. I kind of want it to be a little different.
No, I'm interested in this too. I'm not familiar with the manga, but I am familiar with Koreeda, and one of the films I always wanted to check out is a film he did called Monster. And it's weird. Haven't seen the film, but I have listened to the score a lot because it was done by the late great Ryuichi Sakamoto. Um, so yeah, his work always seemed very cool and visually striking. So I'm intrigued by this as well. Also, just watching the vibe of the trailer, it just seems very. It feels like a hug.
Yeah,
Like it feels like a very just kind of seems like a very sweet film.
yeah, it's a very
So
emotional
I'm
story.
okay.
Yeah, the original short story, was nominated for an Eisner back in 2023 for
Uh,
best U.S. edition of international material in the Asia category, and then just the last episode that went up it would be 1 week from now when this episode goes up. Um, we went through the most recent Eisner Award winners, but I also have a statement from Koreeda about the how they came across the project. On a return trip from Kyoto to Tokyo, I was drawn to a figure's back on the cover of a book in a bookstore at Shinagawa Station. Without thinking, I picked up a copy of it. That was my first encounter with Look Back. That night, I read it in one sitting. It is a very short book, so it wouldn't take like super long to read either. It's a single chapter, like I said, short story. Though manga and film are different genres, as a fellow creator, I felt the desperate resolve behind this book. I could feel, almost painfully, that Mr. Fujimoto simply couldn't move forward without creating this piece. For me, Nobody Knows was that kind of work. After that encounter, producer Daiju Koida approached me about adapting Look Back into a live action film, and I was given the opportunity to meet Mr. Fujimoto. Initially, I wanted to express my gratitude for bringing such a work into the world and for having the chance to encounter it by chance on my own. But on the way home, I remember deciding I have no choice but to do this. Yeah, it's crazy that they read it on their own and then randomly after that was approached about adapting it into live action.
Yeah, it's very serendipitous.
Yeah, definitely excited to see how this turns out. Next, we have I Play Rocky. Actor Sylvester Stallone writes the screenplay for Rocky, betting everything on himself to play the lead character against seemingly impossible odds. The result is the ultimate underdog story behind the ultimate underdog story. Yeah, so this is basically just a Sly Stallone biopic mixed in with the creation of Rocky.
Right.
And that's a fun premise for a movie. And honestly, wouldn't be mad at more movies like this. I specifically I want one about Star Wars and George Lucas. I need that.
Mm,
Eventually, we're gonna get that, and I need it.
yeah,
I need it sooner rather than later.
yeah. I think that that is an interesting genre of films. Um, and I think it definitely takes time removed for sure. And thinking about it now, at this point, Rocky's when did Rocky come out?
I believe it was
Let me
77.
yeah, Rocky is almost 50 years old.
No,
And Star Wars
76.
is oh, it came out in
Yeah,
76?
it came out 76. Star Wars was 77. So is the first
Okay.
Alien.
Wow. So yeah, a lot of these franchises and a lot of these films are at the half a century mark, which is crazy to think about. And I think that films like this work when the material has been out for a long time. So I think that, and we was talking about it before, but just before I watched the trailer, I did kind of think like cinema is kind of interesting because it's kind of like snake that eats its tail. It's like you make the thing, but then you tell the story behind the thing being made, and I think that in this case with Sylvester Stallone, I think it works extraordinarily. Like it works in a very cool way because the story is kind of crazy and like it's a lot of myth about the making of Rocky and the fact that like he wrote the script in a day and like really fought tooth and nail to even be in it. I think that that is a cool opportunity to like celebrate the film, but also highlight Sylvester Stallone and just his career and the fact that he even like had it.
Yeah.
Um,
The Rocky franchise in general is just one of my favorite new franchises. So I definitely am interested to learn more about how it was made. I definitely heard about how he wrote the script and really fought for it. And yeah, the trailer definitely gets across like, yeah, he just is an underdog story. The way that he speaks, it just didn't seem like it was going to be in the cards for him to play the lead in this movie, but somehow he made it work. But speaking of movies from around that era, next we have Blade Runner 2099. Cora, played by Hunter Schafer, a fugitive in a final bid to stop running, takes on one last identity, a Blade Runner. Forced to partner with Olwyn, a replicant days from dying, she hunts down a runaway, hiding a truth that could collapse their fragile city. And Michelle Yeoh is also in this show, and it releases November 25th. I have not seen the original Blade Runner, but I have seen 2049, and I really like that movie. And I got to go back and watch Blade Runner Director's Cut eventually. but I am interested in the show. I'm not like particularly excited though, but I am interested. The trailer didn't do a lot. It's more so the world
Yeah,
that has me interested, and I need to look up who's working on it because I don't know.
yeah,
I
I'm
don't know
looking
that
it up.
either.
Her name is Silka Luisa,
Hmm.
and she's the show's creator. Not hip to her work. Yeah, yeah, created by Silka Luisa.
Okay, I saw at the top. I was like, oh, Philip K. Dick, and I was like, oh, that's the original novel.
Mm,
I was like, what?
right.
But yeah, I'm like I said, interested just because I like the world, but not particularly excited. And I hope it's weekly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be so mad if this isn't weekly. Like let things be weekly. What's
Mm.
your history with Blade Runner?
I don't have much of a history with it. I haven't seen the original or 2049. Um, feel like with Blade Runner, I know everything that influenced it, but as far as watching the franchise on its own, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, 2049 is really good. I think I've only seen it once. I gotta check it out again after I watched the first one. But next we have Godzilla minus zero. The Shigeshima family faces an all-new threat as Godzilla returns to wreak havoc. And this is going to be the first ever Japanese production to be specifically shot and optimized for IMAX. It releases November 6th. So like, yeah, I'm very, very excited for this. I'm big in IMAX now since Sinners. So I'm like, I gotta see this in IMAX. I didn't see the last one in IMAX. I don't think the last one was made for IMAX. So that's fine. But like, yeah, I saw the last one, I think at least twice in theaters. Maybe not. I think I did though. No, I watched it twice. I think the first time was in theaters, the second time was at home. But like, yeah, um, great movie. Had me turn up in the theaters. That first one, it's a real good movie, and I hope this one does as well. Because that first one was very emotional. It was a, I mean, like all Godzilla movies, or at least the best ones and the original ones especially. It's a movie about nuclear war and the devastation of it and why it's bad. That's like the best Kojima games. And
Right.
I'm drawn to stories like that. Telling stories about, in this case it's more for metaphor than Metal Gear, where it's very literal. They're literally under the threat of nuclear war. And in Godzilla there is of course literal nuclear war, but Godzilla is a representation of also nuclear war, um, in a way that's very, very captivating and interesting. And the the human characters in uh, minus one were very good, and a lot of them are returning for this sequel. So I'm very interested to see where their stories are going and how they're going to face the fact that the monster that they fought so hard to kill survived.
Right.
Which that's not a spoiler because they made a second movie, so clearly Godzilla lives.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's
I think.
good.
Um. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was saying go ahead.
Oh, my fault. Yeah. Um. Had a bit of a Godzilla crash course over the past couple of years. One of our former coworkers, that was a service year, she was obsessed with Godzilla and like I don't even want to say obsessed. That's undercutting it. She was a Godzilla historian. And yeah, just getting into the different eras and just seeing the decade affect the portrayal. It just made for this very cool experience. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this one continues it, especially with the fact that it's getting the IMAX treatment. I think that the award campaign for Godzilla a couple years back, it really just kind of, I don't know. I thought it was cool that it was getting the respect that it deserved from a production and visual effects level. So the fact that they're getting, the fact that it's being optimized for IMAX, that is pretty coul.
Yeah, the visual effects in minus one were so good. They were crazy, especially for the budget that it had. Like it didn't have that crazy of a budget, despite how great it looked. But speaking of budgets and incredible effects, we got another trailer for Dune Part Three. Emperor Paul Atreides faces the consequences of his reign as old allies return. Terrifying new threats emerge, and betrayal lurks in every shadow. Haunted by visions of imperial collapse and the reappearance of his long lost love, he gets drawn into a sweeping conspiracy, with Chani at the heart of its unfolding mystery. As rebellion brews and enemies close in, Paul must confront the true cost of power and the fate of those he loves the most. Another movie I'm definitely watching in IMAX, and hopefully it's not the longest movie in the world. Well, it can't be longer than 3 hours, which we'll talk about why later. But at least I have that. At least I have that knowledge. IMAX movies can't be longer than 3 hours, so I know
Right.
that I have at least that limit. But yeah, very excited for this. I know you haven't seen the first two, but hopefully they re-release them in theaters, because those movies, I mean, they're fine to watch at home, but like in theaters.
That's what I've been waiting for. Just if they fulfill that and they put it back in theaters, then I'm definitely going to watch the first two the way that they were intended to be watched.
Let's
Yeah. And
see.
yeah, the trailer looks great. Visually, I mean, goodness gracious. Um, yeah.
Yeah, this comes out.
Denis really sorry,
Oh,
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, Denis really does know how to make this very inventive and cool looking sci-fi stuff. Um, I mean, speaking of Blade Runner, he he really has that bag down. So yeah, it
Dang,
looks
you know
very
what?
cool.
I didn't think about that. I should have put Rocky before Blade Runner. Oh no, Rocky is before Blade Runner. I should have just rearranged things so that Blade Runner was just before this, so I could have a better transition. But this comes out December 18th, and the week
Yeah.
after that, this is gonna be a good back to back for me. Werewolf comes out on Christmas
Mm,
Day. um, directed by Robert Eggers. A cursed
yeah.
farmer transforms into a monstrous creature in 13th century England. And some additional details that I found from Esquire. It's set in 13th century, before wolves were killed off in England, which is something that I didn't know was a thing. It doesn't include werewolf cliches like being bitten by a werewolf and silver bullets. Willem Dafoe is playing a hunter. They spent time with a real wolf to learn about its behavior. The dialogue is in Middle English, and it was shot on 35 millimeter film with grain structure of black and white film incorporated onto color film to create a unique look. Which just in the trailer, it looks different. I don't think I've ever seen a movie that looks like that, and I'm very excited to see what that looks like in theaters. And all the sets were built from the ground up. And yeah, this
Yeah.
it looks really good. Just
This looks
visually, it looks
trippy.
really good. But also, I love that he's digging deep into the origins of werewolf lore for this film, much like he did with Nosferatu, and digging into both vampire lore, but also the original film, and Bram Stoker's Dracula novel, and trying to like really lean into a lot of kind of the origins of these things, and bring that into the film. And he had a really cool quote about that. He said, the British stuff is fairly scanty, so eventually I did have to go over to continental Europe. The werewolf lore there is born from people who were doing such horrific, indescribable acts that it was hard for other people to wrap their minds around it. They figured these people can't be human; they must be inhuman. They must be werewolves, which is wild. And I don't even want to know what they were doing. But I guess I'm about to find out when I watch this movie. um, Yeah, releasing another horror movie on Christmas Day yet again. And once again, I will see it on Christmas Day. My family will be all right. I'll be there for dinner. But I'm gonna try to see this movie early in the day because it's Christmas, so it's not like I got anything else to do that day. At least not early in the day. So yeah, this will be fun to see on Christmas Day
This
again.
looks
I find it very fun to be watching horror movies on Christmas.
yeah, that juxtaposition is cool.
I need Rob Eggers to release a horror movie every other year on Christmas for the rest of his life. Yeah, have you seen Nosferatu?
I've not seen Nosferatu.
Gotta check it out.
Um, yeah, should I want to? I need to just dive into Robert Eggers' work because The Lighthouse really looked cool to me too. I think it's cool that he's been taking on a lot of like folklore stuff and like really getting into the root of horror. And also, his films just have very bold visual styles. So yeah, it and like yeah, looking at the footage for this, it just looks like something else.
Yeah. I really want him to make a Creature of the Black Lagoon movie. I feel like that's one of the Universal monsters that doesn't get enough respect. Give me a Creature of the Black Lagoon. That could be really cool. But speaking of lagoons, next we have a live action Princess and the Frog. Coleman Domingo
I didn't
and
about
Rob
this. Wait, what?
Coleman Domingo and Robert O'Hara are in talks to write an original live action Princess and the Frog called The Dish. And I believe it will be starring Tiana. This is coming from Anthony uh, D'Alessandro at Deadline. They say that it's still early days on the project, particularly as far as deals go. So who knows if this even goes through? But I am far more down for a live action adaptation of an animated Disney movie that tells a completely new story set in the same world than just a retelling of the exact same story in live action. I feel like that's a much more interesting thing to do.
Okay. So it's oh, okay. I'm looking at it now. I understand the
Yeah,
concept.
it's
So it's
not
just like
it's not a
a
direct adaptation of the cartoon. It is a spinoff.
okay.
I believe it's gonna be about Tiana's restaurant.
That's interesting. Yeah, I'm in that makes me feel better. I will say part of me is kind of thinking this could just be an original Louisiana based
Mhm.
black film.
And I think
But if
it
this is
probably
what we
will
have to do,
be the case of like, yeah, Coleman Domingo and Robert O'Hara wanted to tell this story, but they needed to attach an IP to it to make it happen. Because
mm, okay.
that tale is on its time nowadays.
Yeah.
But if it's good, I'll watch it.
If it's good, cool.
Princess and
Yeah,
Frog is a fantastic movie.
it is.
I'll take more Princess and the Frog.
Right. Instead of whatever they've been doing.
Next, we have Crystal Lake, a prequel to the Friday the 13th franchise. The series follows single mother Pam Voorhees, who has been unable to shake her grief after her young, sickly son Jason tragically drowned in the town lake almost a year before. When two strangers arrive at Pam's door digging into her past, a disturbing chain of events are set into motion, leaving the townspeople of Crystal Lake wondering just who is Pam Voorhees. This releases, disappointingly, October 15th instead of November 13th, which is a Friday this year, and my birthday. So, missed opportunity on their part not to release this on Friday the 13th. What's wrong with you guys? I get it, Halloween, but still, and October 15th is, guess what? A Thursday. So it's not even like one of the episodes is going to fall on Friday the 13th,
Right.
assuming it's even weekly, which it might not even be. So it's like, why? Why do that? It should have been on a Friday so that one of the episodes falls on Friday the 13th. Like, at very least, you have it come out earlier so that the finale is on Friday the 13th. Like, come on now. Use
Yeah.
your brains, guys. Come on. Mark it.
See that's not for real. Yeah, lock in.
It's crazy. But yeah, Pamela Voorhees is being played by Linda Cardellini. Uh,
Mm,
I mostly know her from as Velma in the James Gunn Scooby Doo movies. But she also does a bit of voice acting. Yeah, this is. I texted you when this trailer released. This is proof that they're watching our podcast and stealing our ideas. Okay,
yeah.
because this is what we talked about. I think last episode, and
Literally.
it should have been called Camp Blood, but I understand that Crystal Lake is the more iconic name, so I get it. Okay,
Right.
but yeah, this is. I am very excited for this. I love Friday the 13th. I've been slowly going through those movies. Like I said, my birthday this year is going to be on a Friday. And I'm throwing a Friday the 13th themed birthday party. And we're going to watch some Friday the 13th. I got to figure out which one. Not the first one. The first one's kind of boring, honestly. I don't know if that's going to be the most fun to watch. I don't know. With a group of people, it could still be fun. But I don't know. But we'll see. It might be the third one. It could be the second one. We'll see. I think the third one might be a good one because there's some characters in it that get killed. It's like, oh, that sucks. That person was kind of cool.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm excited for that. You got any experience with Friday the 13th?
No. I don't have any experiences with it. do think the idea of doing a prequel and getting into some of the lore of it is pretty cool.
Yeah,
Because I do think that Friday the 13th does kind of feel like there is often like a goofiness attached to it. So I think that the fact that they do seem to be doing something a bit grounded is kind of cool.
yeah, I'm surprised this is happening. I'm surprised
Yeah,
that something Friday the 13th related is even happening with the rights battle going on between some of the people involved with creating it.
right.
So hopefully this leads to us getting a proper Friday the 13th something with Jason. But yeah, next we have Your Mother, Your Mother, Your Mother. A devoutly religious hitman struggles to balance work, faith, and fatherhood. When his wife dies, he embarks on a desperate journey across Houston to protect his children as he confronts the forces that are closing in around him. Directed by Bassam Tariq, one of the prospective directors for Blade, and Ali is using the sword training he did for Blade in this film. And I personally, I got to see this just out of respect for
No, for sure.
the Blade movie that never happened, which we will talk more about later. So we don't need to get to it now. But man, it's unfortunate. But this movie does look good. I am very interested.
Yeah, it looks very, 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 very cool.
But
Yeah, honestly, it just looks cool.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't even
not
know where to
much,
start with it.
not even much more to say than that, honestly. Next we have Children of Blood and Bone. You know what's crazy? I think I forgot to watch this trailer. I've had this trailer just sitting around for a while. I don't think I've watched the trailer. Let me watch the trailer.
Oh shoot. Okay.
I didn't watch the whole trailer, but I watched enough. But yeah, getting into it. I don't know if I read the log line. In the fantastical realm of Orisha, a young woman embarks on a quest to reclaim the magic that was violently stolen from her people. And this movie has some complicated like things going on behind the scenes that makes
Yes.
it weird to decide whether or not you should watch it. Because it's like on one hand, it's like you want to support black films and black stories like this, but on the other hand, the original writer, Tomi Adeyemi, left the film set sobbing, calling it the worst thing I've had to live through, and I never want to hear about it again, according to Jordan Moreau at Variety. And I'm gonna just read the whole article because it's crazy.
I remember I saw that. I didn't see the entire article
Yeah.
though.
Tomi uh, Adeyemi, author of the novel Children of Blood and Bone, which, by the way, I just want to read the book now more than anything, said the upcoming Paramount film adaptation of her book was the worst thing I've ever had to live through, and I never want to hear about this project again. In a 5-minute video posted on Wednesday. And this article is from July 29th. Adeyemi, who co wrote the screenplay for the film, had previously spoken out about how she wouldn't watch the Children of Blood and Bone movie based on her African fantasy novel after being on set for its production. What I'm about to share is not a secret to people involved, she said in the social media clip. It's a reality that I've had to live with for about a year and a half, and everyone involved, at least at the highest level, has been made aware of this reality, and they haven't done anything to make it better. If anything, they've only antagonized me, and I accept that. But I also accept if I don't say something, I think it's going to be worse. Earlier this month, in a since deleted TikTok video, Adeyemi posted what happened to be a group chat that included Children of Blood and Bone actor Amandla Stenberg. Adeyemi wrote, "Do not ever use my name in an interview or video again. Do not text me. Do not call me," and appeared to block Stenberg. All of that was according to the LA Times. Stenberg had previously received backlash from book fans over casting as Princess Amari due to allegations of colorism. I am 4 months into training for Children of Blood and Bone, and I'm getting my ass whooped, Stenberg previously said in a deleted TikTok video last year. I want everyone to know that this is important to me, and I think about it with every choice that I make. I would never navigate my career blindly, not thinking about my skin tone or the space I occupy. I would never go after a role I didn't feel was right for me. I want to see all skin tones represented in media. I know that colorism is an insidious system that relentlessly impacts every facet of entertainment. Despite the insinuation about a feud with Stenberg, Adeyemi has not clarified what happened on the set. I do not wish to speak on anymore. I don't know if that's possible. They said in the clip posted on Wednesday, as of this article being posted. And I'm just ended there. But the movie comes out January 15th next year. And yeah, it sounds bad. And the stuff with Stenberg is very interesting. And I'm curious to know the truth of that because it would suck to hear that they were nasty to them behind the set or behind scenes because of some stuff related to their skin color, especially since they very much Stenberg was like recently attacked for, despite being a light skinned woman, because that doesn't matter to racist, for being a black woman in Star Wars and just a woman in Star Wars. Because just being a woman in Star Wars is a problem to a lot of people, but a black woman, light skin or not, it don't matter. They come after you. And I like the Acolyte. I enjoyed the Acolyte personally, and I think that it's a classic case of, first off, it just straight up wasn't bad, even if it wasn't as good as some people wanted it to be. And I could see it being so much better with the second season. Like, I'm so mad that show didn't get a second season. And yeah, I got it. I don't gotta know, but I'm very curious to know what happened between the behind the scenes and like obviously it's not even just Stenberg, but also various other people. And I just, you know, I don't know. Was it a case of them just not respecting the source material, or is there just a lot of is it does a lot of it have to do with colorism? Because looking at the cast, she seems like the only light skinned character, but maybe her character is so important and her being dark skinned is so important that that was just enough to cause a gigantic problem.
Yeah. And touching on what you were mentioning with Amanda Stenberg, I mean, shoot, it's like the Acolyte, and sadly, she's been dealing with it since she was a child, like with Rue and the Hunger Games, and just the
Yeah.
sheer amount of just very disgusting comments that were being hurled to her as a child. Um, like just touching on that for sure. And shoot, to me, just kind of hearing about the story, it does seem like a general lack of consideration for her or Adeyemi. And like do want to confirm pronunciation.
Yeah, because I was doing my best. I was just like, I don't know how to pronounce. I think I pronounced like five different ways.
I know it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, Adeyemi. Um, there, because movie gets made three times, and that's the phrase they always say. The movie gets made three times. It's made in pre-production, it's made in production, and then it's made in post. And oftentimes, the writer is left in pre. Like very often that is the case. The writer writes the script and like introduces it, but once production happens, sometimes certain crews can be cool with the writers being involved, but like often cases,
Nowadays, especially, that's not much of a thing anymore.
yeah.
Like back in the days, it'd be very normal for the writers to be on set. Nowadays, not so much.
No, exactly. And it's like double, not only are you a writer, but you are also like the person that created the original work. It just, so I feel like she was probably doubly ignored. Um, and yeah, I could imagine certain frustrations with that. Also, just being a woman in the film industry in general, I can't imagine what type of experiences could have been had being on that set or dealing with higher ups or trying to convey people or trying to convey to people that certain narrative things are important. And you have folks that don't know the work as much as you do tell you that you don't know your work as well. So, and this is just kind of like inferring, but this does happen a lot on sets. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case with her specifically. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
it's just
wouldn't.
very
I wouldn't be
messy.
surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it just makes me want to read the books because I'm always looking for a good. I'm always looking for a good fantasy in general, but especially if I can find. I've been actively searching for more non-European fantasy stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, next we have Man of Tomorrow. We got some more news on that. And we learned that Zolo Marindu will be returning as Blue Beetle.
Hmm.
But his cartoon is potentially being canceled.
Oh, that sucks.
And one of the reasons for it is like, oh, it has a kids audience, and that doesn't work. Yet they're releasing 1,000 other children's cartoons, but for some reason this one is the one that has to get canceled when he's about to appear in a major movie. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I really hope that his appearance in this movie like boosts his popularity so much that they have no choice but to make this cartoon happen. We also got a piece of concept art that shows Supergirl, Jon Stewart, Hawkgirl, and Hawkgirl alongside Superman and Lex Luthor fighting against Brainiac. So this is gonna be a team up movie.
That's really cool.
And I like getting a team up movie that isn't necessarily Justice League, but probably will, result in the creation of the Justice League. And yeah, I'm glad that like I hate that all Avengers movies are big like event movies now. Like Avengers movies should just be Avengers movies. They shouldn't need to be the entirety of existence is at threat. It should just be, oh, this person's trying to blow up a city sometimes. Like sometimes that's all the Avengers needs to be. That's why I love Avengers as Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have this be like, yeah, you can just have a team up movie. It doesn't have to be the Justice League. And if it is the Justice League, it also doesn't have to be like universe ending.
Right.
And also sometimes a single superhero or maybe just a smaller group of superheroes deals with a world-ending threat like Brainiac, Like,
Right.
I like that. I love that. And I hope this movie's good.
Me too. And yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that I think team up movies don't have to be so existential or like you need this huge buildup of all of these countless movies for 5. Sometimes a team up movie can just happen if it's well written enough. So yeah, I think that could be cool.
Yeah. Team up movies don't always need to be built up. But we will talk about one that needed more build up, but we'll get there. Next, sticking on the DC train, we have Lanterns. And we got a much better trailer recently.
Yeah.
That actually has me excited. Did you manage to check out that trailer?
I did.
Why the fuck didn't they start with this?
Yeah, I agree.
People are saying, oh, they're trying not to show too much. They don't want to spoil the movie. My brother in Christ. It's Green Lantern.
Yeah.
We expect aliens and space travel. Why would it be a spoiler that there are aliens and space travel in the Green Lantern show?
Right.
You should have started here. You had us all thinking this was going to be a super grounded Green Lantern show. And it still is going to be relatively grounded. Yeah. But at least we know they're going to go to space. They're going to go to alien planets. Right. We saw Sinestro. We saw the Manhunters. Like, this is what I wanted.
Right. This is the character.
And now I'm like way more excited. I'm like, okay, it is a Green Lantern show.
Yeah.
This is actually a Green Lantern show. I'm still not loving the visual style of it.
Yeah.
It's still way too muted for my liking, which maybe they're doing that on purpose to make the green stand out, but I don't think that's necessary.
I agree.
And yeah, I'm still curious just how much are we going to see them use their powers? Because it still doesn't feel like we're going to get as much of that as I want. But at least it feels more like Green Lantern now. And I feel like the press tour has also done a lot for me. Because seeing Kyle Chandler in real life act like Hal Jordan does in the comics gives me a lot more faith in his casting despite his age. Now, I still wish he was younger and closer in age to Jon Stewart. But I'm liking him a lot more. I'm starting to see the vision.
No, Sam.
And also,
see the vision. Yeah.
Yeah. In the trailer, they talk about Manhunters. And we see something shapeshifting. And naturally, the uninitiated assume that it's Martians and that it's Martian Manhunter because he shapeshifts. But the Manhunters are a completely different and unrelated thing. They were the predecessors of the Green Lantern Corps that were previously used to govern space by the Guardians, who created the Green Lantern Corps and their rings and all that. Now, could they possibly be combining Manhunters and Martians? Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. I think that this is just a different take on the Manhunters, who are usually robots. And they could still be robots here, that shapeshift.
Right.
And yeah, this is coming out the Sunday after next, after uh, House of the Dragon ends, which has one more episode. And then the week after that, on August 16th, will be the first episode of this, new prestige HBO Sunday show. But yeah, how did you feel about this, Jerry?
I thought it was cool. I would say, okay, I won't say cool. I thought it was better. I do think that it was a better trailer. I got more of a feel for the characters and the story that they're trying to tell here. So actually, I don't know. This seems more like a Green Lantern show. We got more of the cosmic aspect. Still kind of iffy on the costume, but
God, that costume's so bad.
yeah,
I can't believe somebody designed that costume and said, yeah, this is Green Lantern Hal Jordan. It's going to be brown. It's going to have this weird armor.
ripple
And it's
type
like,
thing. Yeah,
what happened to Simple?
you feel me?
Like, come on. There have been some really good DC costumes. Like, as bad as that show was, the Titans costumes are real good.
Yeah,
And the costume design in Superman was great. Supergirl's costume in the movie was great. Like, there's some good costumes in this. Why? Why did they overcomplicate it?
yeah,
Why is it armor? Like, it's weird. Hal Jordan has one of the best. Jon Stewart as well. So I really hope they don't fuck up Jon Stewart's costume. His costume is so simple.
yeah,
They both have some of the most clean, simple costumes in all of comics. And for them to overcomplicate it in such a way and just make it so dull and ugly, it's just like, come on. Jon Stewart's better look good.
yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. But I will say though,
Also,
I do like the character writing a bit here. And yeah, the performances so far look you. I don't know why they edited the early trailers like that. They look so wooden, but now it feels like people. I don't know, but yeah,
yeah. And I don't know. It's become ingrained in the character, and I still don't like it. But I hate how much of a military man they've made Jon Stewart over the years, which is something that was only started because of Justice League, the animated series. When before that he was just an architect, he had nothing to do with the military. And now they've tried to combine the two, but they still lean more into military. And I'm like, no, he's a Green Lantern. He makes things with his minds. You should be leaning into the more creative part of his character, because that's what he does. He makes constructs, and that's such a cool power for an architect to have.
right.
And they never lead into that, and it's very unfortunate. But yeah, I am much more excited for this show now. Yeah, next we have the Batman Part 2, which has been delayed to February 18th, 2028.
Yeah,
Not even 27, 28. That is crazy.
yeah,
That's such a crazy delay. Why? The first delay, because it was supposed to come out October 25th, was due to the writer's strike.
right.
Or it's supposed to come out October 2025. And that one made sense. But why? Why? That's such a big delay. Now, granted, according to Variety, James Gunn defended the first delay by saying 5 years between movie sequels isn't uncommon, and gives plenty of examples. He says, there was 7 years between Alien and Aliens, 14 years between The Incredibles, 7 years between The Terminators, 13 years between Avatars, 36 years between Top Guns. And I'm like, okay, you start to get into some examples that are crazy.
Yeah,
But then he talks about how there were 6 years between Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and 3. And I'm like, okay, you know what? He's not wrong.
yeah.
We are just used to superhero movies getting copious amounts of sequels in quick succession.
Right.
So he's not wrong. But this is still crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's a far cry to what it was before.
And like, it's going to be great. I'm willing to wait. But goddamn,
Yeah,
that's such a big delay. But in the meantime, however, we do have Clayface, which continues to look absolutely incredible. And October 23rd can't come sooner. It looks good. And, they're hiding the monster, which is good. You always got to do that in a monster movie. You can't show us the monster in the trailer.
right.
Okay, that would ruin everything. And I swear there better not be any type of marketing material that spoils what Clayface looks like before this movie comes out. Because that always happens.
Right. It'll be like Doritos collaboration, and then they'll show what it looks
Yeah.
like.
Like, what collabs Clayface about to have that's about to ruin this?
Axe
It's about
body
to be a
wash.
some makeup brand. It's gonna be an Ulta collab
No,
with
exactly.
Clayface.
Yeah. That's how we
But
found out
yeah,
what Luigi. That's how we not Luigi. That's how we found out what Yoshi looked like. It was like an Old Spice collab or something.
yeah. There's a subset of people online being very down on this movie, which I know is very par for the course with anything
Yeah.
on the internet. But this one stems from the failure of Sony's Spider-Man villain films, which is, a great comparison, the most popular characters in their respective companies,
Hmm.
um, making spin-offs about the villains. And to that, I'd say those movies were Sony's attempt at capitalizing on the extended universe trend started by Marvel, and as a
Right.
result were rushed and not very well planned out, or made with care and respect for the characters
Yeah.
and the world of Spider-Man.
They were tax write-offs. Like they
Yeah,
needed
and I
something to
think
keep the IP.
that every single one of those movies could have worked if they were made by people who had unique stories to tell and cared about the characters.
Yeah.
And that's what Clayface has, alongside taking place in a universe that will have a Batman, unlike Sony's Spider-Man villain verse.
Right.
Also, this is a comic book horror movie being made with a $40 million budget. Yes, that's a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of these movies, that's nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that combined with, or let me reword that. I think that the combined interest of comic book fans and horror fans who are going to watch this, despite knowing nothing about the character, will result in this movie making a decent profit. I think this movie is going to do well financially because horror fans, especially lately, they're itching for more after stuff like Obsession.
Right.
And as long as this movie's good, I think it's going to do well, and it's going to hopefully start a trend of people going like not just horror movies, but I hope that this starts a trend of us getting more comic book movies that are in very specific genres, trying to tell very specific stories with characters that aren't necessarily the most popular. So yeah, I'm really excited for this. What did you think of the trailer?
Well, I thought it looked great. Yeah, thought it looked very great. Again, I agree with you. I like that they haven't shown the monster yet. Practical effects look very cool, and yeah, they're really getting into their Cronenberg bag. Yeah, cinematography looks cool. The the prosthetic design. It looks like a cool horror film.
Yeah,
Yeah, I really am
and
interested
and
in
like
this. Yeah.
it having been written by what's his name?
Oh, Flanagan.
Like yeah, it having been written by Mike Flanagan, and originally it was going to be directed by him. So,
Hmm.
and I wish it was still, but just the fact that he wrote it gives me all the faith in the world.
Right.
And I forget who the director is.
Oh, James Watkins.
Yeah, it's like I feel like I got a lot of faith in this movie,
Yeah.
and this movie being a good movie.
Me too.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel like it's a comic book film where comic book isn't the genre. Yeah. I think
yes.
this looks cool.
But going into the complete and total opposite direction, we're gonna talk about Avengers: Doomsday, releasing in theaters December 18th, and I got a single ticket,
Hmm.
because I was lucky enough to get that. I usually try to get two tickets, but I barely got one. I didn't even realize that like tickets were for sale, and then I saw it and I was like, oh, I should probably grab one. And then luckily I did because only God knows what would have happened if I was any later than that.
Right.
But this trailer, despite the fact I got my ticket, did nothing for me. This was I don't even know how to really describe this trailer. It was just long. It was just sweeping shots of characters and them being like, yeah, so Doom is the bad guy, and he's a really bad guy.
Yeah.
And my name's Thor, and I don't know any of you people,
Right.
but we gotta go fight Doom. And we have built there's no relationship between any of us. I know a couple of you, kinda, a little bit. But we got to go fight Doctor Doom because Doctor Doom is the bad guy. And the Fantastic Four is going to meet Black Panther, and that's cool because Black Panther debuted in the Fantastic Four comic. That's cool, right?
That's
Right?
cool.
And like Black Panther, Namor, Fantastic Four, there's something there. They all interact a lot. That's cool, right? It would be if there was build up.
Hmm.
If the Fantastic Four interacted with Namor and Black Panther previously, if they weren't rushing towards this,
Yeah.
I don't understand. No, I understand. I know exactly what's happening. Because Kevin Feige says, he admits, Secret Wars will establish a new universe that's easier to follow, streamlined, simplified, and it's all going to be a single universe. It seems like they're going to get rid of the multiverse.
I did not know he just straight up
Um,
said that. That's funny.
yeah, which is funny because that's something that DC did at one point.
Hmm.
The
Right.
literally, actually, you know what? This is crazy. It's coming full circle.
Yeah, because they killed the DCEU.
No, the very first of DC's major events, their Crisis, the very first Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Shoot.
The reason Crisis on Infinite Earths was created was to simplify their multiverse. What Crisis on Infinite Earths did was get rid of the multiverse in the DC universe for a brief period of time. It might have been longer than that. I think it might have been a couple decades. But yeah, and I think it was 1984 or something like that. It's like the mid 80s. The Crisis on Infinite Earths happened because after the multiverse was created by the Flash and Flash of Two Worlds, which introduced the idea that Barry Allen and Jake Eric, they existed in two different universes. And in that other universe, you had all the characters that existed before they created Hal Jordan and Barry Allen. When you had the original Flash and the original Green Lantern, who live in a universe where they also have a Batman and a Wonder Woman who are on the Justice Society of America instead of the Justice League. And it all got confusing. So DC said, let's just reset everything and collapse it all into a single universe. And that's what Marvel's about to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they're about to do. That's crazy. And you know what's crazy? They're doing that. But for some... Hold on. Okay, let me just lump this all together because this all needs to just be talked about together in general. So, Ryan Gosling has been cast as Ghost Rider and David Johnson as Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you, or correct me, you still haven't seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever, right?
I haven't.
But you know who he's playing.
Yeah.
I need you to say it.
Oh, T'Challa's son.
Okay. Because I didn't want to spoil it for you if you didn't know.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good.
And to me, that's weird. Because if you're collapsing everything into one universe, they could have just brought back T'Challa.
Okay.
It didn't need to be his son.
Yeah.
If this is a true restart, it's like I said, it's going to be soft. There's going to be a lot of things that are like the same. Like not everybody's about to get recast or anything like that. I'm sure there will be some recasting, but
Right.
they could have just had this beat T'Challa. It didn't have to be a son. I feel like that's a weird decision, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It could have just been T'Challa. This was their opportunity to just bring back T'Challa proper. But whatever, I guess. Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Not excited, but I'm gonna watch it. I hope it's like I don't want it to be bad.
Yeah.
Like I hope it's good. I hope it's decent, at least.
Oh, for
But
Doomsday.
nothing about it feels like it will be.
I'm for Doomsday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what. Cyclops looks cool.
I know Cyclops looks great.
That costume looks good.
Yeah.
So Ian McKellen is old.
That's who he plays.
He's
in
been-
this
he's-
movie, old.
He's been
Like-
old. He's been old since we were young,
No,
and we're still young. But I mean, younger. He's been old since we watched those first X-Men movies as children.
Like,
But like I'm really seeing his age in this movie.
oh no, for sure. Yeah, it's like let him rest. Like let Ian McKellen rest. Let Patrick Stewart rest. Please, they
Hey,
killed.
those checks fat though.
Oh no,
But those checks though.
oh the checks are crazy. Oh, infinite money glitch for sure. But it's like Patrick Stewart. Professor X has died 15 times over the course of the past 20 years. But yeah, I don't know. What
Every time they kill him, he's like, yes, finally I can rest. And then they bring him back.
Exactly. But I don't know what this movie is, to be honest with you. it looks like a mess, to be frank. It just looks like an absolute mess. And yeah, they're just like, okay, we have all of these loose ends. Let's try to just pull as much of something resembling a plot as we can together. Um, yeah, I just none
And
of
I don't think they didn't need to do this.
they didn't.
I don't
Honestly,
think this is the solution. I think you just needed to make better movies.
you're right. Which
you
did
did we didn't need a reboot. We just needed better movies.
honestly, yeah, because I think that there is something promising with the multiverse concept, but yeah, the multiverse era for Marvel wasn't a failure because of the fact that they were multiverse based. Like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was one of the most critically received films of the year it came
Everything
out in.
everywhere all at once.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like Multiverses was going crazy a couple years back. And
They just weren't utilizing it
you
well.
feel me? Yeah. Like there was so much potentiality there with the multiverse concept. And I feel like, and I haven't seen this show really, but based on talking to folks, the only show that seems to use the premise well is Loki. Um,
Yeah, 100%. Because it was about the time variance association that like manages essentially like the multiverse and tries to keep things in order.
right.
And yeah, it's just the Fantastic Four first steps was the first time they did what I wanted them to do,
Hmm.
and apparently it's going to be the last time,
Which
where they
sucks.
told a story that takes place in a different universe, completely isolated from everything else. It has nothing to do with anything else, and it was just a story in that universe, set within a multiverse, but there's planned for it to cross over, but not necessarily in that movie.
Right.
That's what they should have pivoted to be like, okay, let's start let's build up to Doomsday and Secret Wars by telling isolated stories with no crossover
Hmm.
in different universes where we get to bring in directors who want to tell this specific story with this specific character and do really fun and interesting stuff in different multiverses, and then we get Doomsday where they all converge.
Right.
Like
And
we get a new Black Panther movie where we introduce David Johnson as OG T'Challa in a different universe that eventually is going to collapse in on a new one. We get a I don't know Ghost Rider movie with Ryan Gosling set in a different universe. Like we get an X-Men movie set in a different universe, and eventually it all collapses in on each other. And then it's like, oh, mutants have been here the whole time, and everybody knows about them because it's a new universe, and this is just a thing that's existed forever,
right.
and it doesn't need to be explained. Like it's weird that they decided no, we're gonna do it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why. Um, I will say, I mean, shoot, like you're saying with Ghost Rider, and what they did with First Steps, they should have just went DC elsewhere with it. And yeah, every few movies or so, if they do want to do a team up film or combine universes, you can do it. But like, and this is a long standing problem with the Marvel films. I would say some of them even before Endgame, because it wasn't just like Endgame was the last great thing they did, or like after Endgame everything was terrible.
I mean, me and you both know what the last great thing they did was, but we'll talk about that later.
You feel me? Yeah, like my main issue with Marvel Studios sometimes, and I feel like they fixed it with the film they just released a couple days ago. But Marvel films are Marvel Studios films. They're not director films. They are very much so studio films. Or I don't even want to just say that. That's where I can articulate it is we talk about the OG Spider-Man trilogy. We call them the Raimi films. And we call them the Raimi films because they have a very distinct style, and it's, Sam Raimi doing his distinctive take on the character. The same way we talk about character runs in the comics, like Straczynski's run of Spider Man is a specific type of run. Like there's a name attached to it because that person did something distinct. Um, if No way, with the Homecoming trilogy or with the Home trilogy, not that many people that called it the Watch trilogy. Like a lot of those films are pretty stylistically bereft and quite plain. And like even in the way that the films are titled, they're not like insert filmmakers so and so. It's Marvel Studios so and so, like Marvel Studios Eternals, not Chloe, not Academy Award winning Chloe Zhao's The Eternals. It's the studio's film, not the filmmaker's film. And yeah, it's I feel like
It's not. It's like
Marvel,
we have the Batman, but everybody refers to it as Matt Reeves' Batman.
you feel me? And then the other films are called Nolan's Batman. Like even Joel Schumacher has a specific take on Batman. Or first Batman joints, Burton.
Yeah,
Like all of them put their stamp on it. Um, and I feel like the only MCU films that have that distinction, I feel like with not to spoil, I feel like with Brand New Day, Daniel Desson Cretton will get credit for that. But I do believe that before that, the only MCU films that had that type of distinction were the Gunn trilogy for Guardians.
yeah.
Outside of that, a lot of them were kind of like Marvel Studios so and so and so film. And like Ryan Coogler, one of the best modern filmmakers.
But he
Um,
didn't start making that name for himself until after the first Black Panther.
you feel me? Yeah. And like, or even like even Creed, even though Creed is a franchise film, it is a Ryan Coogler film and he put his own stamp on it. Like, and this is kind of my take on Black Panther in general. Black Panther is a good film that could have been great, but it was only good because it had to be a Marvel film. And Marvel films have to have the third act where everything falls apart and a fight with
I
a
hate the
big
third act of that
bad.
movie so bad because
You feel me?
that last fight did not need to be completely CG.
You feel
That should
me?
have been a practical fight. It annoys me to no end. And I also the
So,
reason I like Wakanda Forever more than the first one is because that is a Ryan Coogler film.
okay, got you.
And
Yeah,
after Sinners, this third movie is about to be a Ryan Coogler as Ryan Coogler film. Like
yeah,
every after every Black Panther movie, he gets more and more famous. So it's like,
right.
yeah, they're definitely about to just let him do whatever in this next movie.
And that's the hope, especially because like quick aside, don't understand it for too long, but I do think that Coogler is next in the trajectory of Nolan
Yeah, but I mean,
in regards to like almost like to a scary, like same exact point
yeah,
type
especially even
situation.
with IMAX, like Black Panther is about to be filmed for IMAX.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But like, I mean,
Um,
sticking on this train, honestly, since we're talking about like black films within the MCU. I also want to talk about the just the lack of black characters in the MCU getting projects. Recently, Wonder Man got canceled after being renewed. Ironheart was hung out to dry, barely got advertised. They're forgetting that Monica Rambeau was last seen in the Fox X-Men universe at the end of the Marvels. I don't know if Tatiana, I can't remember her last name, the actress who plays Monica Rambeau, is being coy and maybe lying because that happens a lot. MCU actors will just lie to avoid spoiling things by saying that she is not in the movie. She hasn't said it outright, but she's like hinted at her maybe not being in the movie. She could be lying, but if she isn't,
okay,
that's crazy. And also, Armor Wars is now being turned into a post Secret Wars Tony Stark story instead of being about Rhodey. And Blade was canceled. And Kevin Feige absolutely should feel like a failure, like he said recently in an interview, for not getting this off the ground. Because how do you fuck up that bad? It's Blade. It's just a dude killing
right.
vampires. What's the problem? Also,
They
yeah.
made 3 films of it already.
Also, the Wonder Man showrunner Andrew Guest released a video about the show being canceled, saying there was a decision made internally between Disney and Marvel that this didn't make sense for them, even though a few months ago it did when it got renewed,
Right.
which is crazy. And not too long ago, Daniel Deson Cretton, who's helped create that show as well, came out and said I don't know how this happened as well. Like he's confused. He's just as confused. After this man, like they better undo that shit quick, fast, and in a
No,
motherfucking
you
hurry.
feel me? Yo,
After Spider Man, you're really gonna like, oh yeah, let's not let Daniel Dustin Craig make another Marvel project.
gotta
like,
let that dude do whatever he want.
come on now, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, where are the black characters? Like, yeah, we're gonna get Storm. That's something that I understand people being a bit concerned about, but I'm not. Is people are like, oh, Storm's gonna be light skinned. I don't think so. Like, Marvel has fucked up in a lot of places, but let's be so real. Other than a few mistakes here and there, I think even some of the mistakes they made in casting was like super early on in the MCU. I I trust Marvel casting. I don't
Yeah.
think they've done like of all the things they fucked up, casting isn't one of them.
Mhm.
So I personally have zero fear of Storm being miscast or being light skinned or anything like that. When it comes to the casting specifically, I have zero fear. There are a great many other things I'm concerned about. Casting isn't one of them, especially after we just got Ryan Gosling as Ghost Rider and uh, David Johnson as Black Panther.
Right.
I'm not concerned about casting in the slightest. We also, well, I'll talk about that one later. Another piece of casting we got that's been made official. But like, yeah, I'm not concerned about casting, but I am concerned about just seeing more black characters in general. And hopefully, when Storm does come, she's big and popular. Well, she's gonna be popular. That's undeniable. But hopefully, she gets the attention she deserves, and that
Right.
results in more black characters being propped up. Because the rumor is she's probably gonna show up in Black Panther 3 first.
Right. Yeah.
Wait, what are your thoughts on that before we start to get into some reviews?
I would like for Marvel to just reset and just really
And
focus on
thankfully, they
making
are.
some good films. Yeah, thankfully. And yeah, I just hope that they follow in a trajectory. I mean, I'm spoiling my thoughts on Brand New Day, but I hope they stay on that trend of just making original character-based films and not following the Marvel film format to a T so much. Um,
Throw it out the
I
window.
feel like,
If you're
yeah,
resetting,
honest,
forget the formula. And if you're collapsing everything into the same universe, fine. I don't think that's necessary. I think you can still do the multiverse. But if you're going to do that for the sake of simplification, I get it. Because things maybe got too wild for them. Maybe they couldn't handle it. So if you're going to simplify things, still allow things, even though they're set within the same universe, to feel different. Like Daredevil Born Again, it doesn't necessarily feel like every other Marvel project. It feels different.
right,
WandaVision at the beginning felt very different. It unfortunately funneled back down into the Marvel formula, but it started feeling
right.
very different. Loki, damn near all the way through, felt pretty damn different.
Mhm.
So it's like the capacities. I mean, Wonder Man, despite the fact they fucking canceled it, like the capacity is there.
Right,
You just gotta. At the end of the day, all of these projects we're talking about is because they let the artist be artists.
right.
Let them get weird. Let them get weird.
But that's the way it should be. And I think that they have to take risks.
Yeah, trying to avoid risk is how we got here.
Oh, exactly. And yeah, they just got too. I feel like they just got too bent on continuity and connectiveness that they didn't focus on making good films solely. Um, because I think the Avengers worked because each of the films that came out before it, Iron Man 2 is questionable. Each of those
I like Iron
films
Man
are
too.
relatively solid films. What's up?
That's how I like Iron Man too.
I know I like it too. I like it as well. It's I will say it's in my opinion, I do think it's the weakest of the initial run for phase one. It is a good film. Um, yeah, a lot like Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, the First Avenger. Those are character movies. They are like those are character
His first
films, and
Avenger
they're
is
pretty
a
well.
period piece.
Exactly.
Give us more period pieces, especially once you start introducing older characters like Wolverine, who's been around forever. Like, give us some
Yeah,
period pieces. Like that could be cool. Like there's some
could.
characters that have are long lived. Like if they end up bringing in Blue Marvel, who's a character who was essentially within the universe, he was like the first black superhero who he's like one of the many like Superman allegories in Marvel.
Yeah.
And he's a very fun character who they could tell a period piece about because he was a superhero in the 60s and then was like essentially forced to retire by the US government. You could tell a very interesting story there. I mean, technically, Captain Marvel was a period piece.
Right. Yeah, that is a good point. I never even thought about it that way.
I mean, give us a Nick Fury origin story movie period piece, like a 70s. Like you can either have it just be like a James Bond inspired spy thriller, or it could be like a black exploitation joint
On what type of movie?
with a Nick Fury, like a young Nick Fury at the beginning of his
Oh,
career.
that would be cool. Yeah,
Like have it take place in like the 70s, 80s,
yeah.
which is like
I would watch
prime that kind of movie,
it. Right,
like a spy thriller. Hell yeah, they could do interesting things with this reboot. We'll see. I also wanted to mention that
right.
it's not confirmed whether or not Ryan Gosling is playing Johnny Blaze or not. There's three.
Mm.
Well, there's more three Ghost Riders, but there's three main Ghost Riders. Now, there's one he obviously can't be playing, and that's Robbie Reyes because he's Latino. But
Right.
there's another Ghost Rider. There's Danny Ketch, Ghost Rider from the '90s and a bit of the early 2000s, I think. And he could be playing Danny Ketch. Now he's probably gonna be playing Johnny Blaze because that's the more iconic one. That's the first one. It's the original. It's one everybody knows. Um, but they could go Danny Ketch, and I think I kind of prefer that. I kind of prefer they go with Danny Ketch. Give us a new Ghost Rider, somebody a little different. But getting into some reviews, we are going to start with Spider-Man: Brand New Day. We'll start with spoiler-free reviews. This movie surprisingly juggles everything it does very well, and especially with the amount of villains they show, they do it in a way that makes the world feel more fleshed out. And I really like that. Like I feel like that's something I've always gotten from Spider-Man comics, since that's been like definitely the primary vector in which I read Marvel comics. I read Spider-Man, I read Thor, I read Daredevil. I don't read much of anything else. I mostly read DC. Recently I've been reading the current Captain America run, which has been really good. And I've been starting to get into X-Men comics. I've been reading New Mutants, but like it's mostly been like Spider-Man is definitely like the big one that I read a lot. And he interacts with so many different corners of the Marvel universe that it's easy to get a feel for everything when you're reading Spider-Man comics. And this movie does kind of like translates that feel to the movies.
Mm.
And we see it a lot of, especially with Peter and the Punisher's relationship with Peter and Frank, which is one of the best parts of the movies, of the movie. And it makes me want to see other street level heroes, specifically from that Netflix universe of shows, appear in future Spider-Man movies, like a Jessica Jones, Nick Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, characters who have relationships with Peter. That would be really cool. You
Yeah.
know, their relationship, it's very brotherly, filled with a lot of arguing, that really brought out Peter's New York accent. Like it came out the strongest when he was arguing with the
Yes.
Punisher, which was great. Um, and I love how casual Spider-Man's relationship is with New York specifically as well. This is a New York that loves Spider-Man, especially after forgetting him, you know, at the end of No Way Home.
Right.
So he can just casually walk through the streets and nobody's super concerned. They're just like, oh shit, it's Spider-Man. Hey, what's up? And then he
This
just keep it pushing.
Spider-Man.
Um,
Right.
Unfortunately, though, there was no Daily Bugle. That was disappointing.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't see J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, I wish we saw like a newspaper or like an article, an online article or something like that. Like, no Daily Bugle was a bit disappointing. And
Oh,
the
lovely.
action was so good. And the moments where it's practical are breathtaking. It's crazy.
Mhm.
And early on, we get one of the best swinging scenes since The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Still, I don't think quite reaching those heights, but close. We're getting
Yeah.
closer. And Peter, he's just the right amount of pathetic in this movie. but pathetic in a way to where you want to see him get through it. You want to see him
Right.
deal with his trauma and overcome it. And ultimately, I think this movie ends in a very satisfying way. But
Yeah.
do you want to say anything spoiler free before we hop into spoilers?
This film, of course, there are cameos and there are appearances from folks that we're going to see more of in the future. But here it's not very fan servicey as much as it actually is contextual to the story that they're trying to tell with the film, which is a film about, accepting help and that you don't have to go through things alone and that you need people. And yeah, that was the overall theme that I got from the film. And it everything that's in the film adds to that world. I did kind of get a bit of a vibe of James Gunn's Superman a little bit in regards to how it's very much so like kind of like this is a week in Peter Parker's life or this is a day in Peter Parker's life and this is just the stuff that he has to deal with. And that matter of factness kind of it made the world feel more alive. It's just like, oh, here's Tombstone, and he just pops up. Here's Scorpion, he pops up. Um, and it's just like these people are being mentioned, but they're not being like mentioned simply for the point of setting up a film. They're there to paint the world out. Um, and yeah, it felt like a film with a cohesive message and idea. And I think this is Tom Holland's best performance as Peter and Spider Man,
Yeah,
as both.
and I think it's the best Spider-Man movie in the MCU period.
Oh, easy.
Yeah,
That's not even
easily.
like,
And you
yeah.
mentioning Superman made me think of something kind of in relation to why this film is so good, but also why the MCU has been so kind of failing in certain aspects. And that is kind of how, in some ways, some movies can feel like they're film made by committee because sometimes
Oh,
they let the test audiences dictate too much. Because reminded me of the fact that the Superman movie by James Gunn,
mm,
there's these weird cuts that happen that feel very random that like jump to the next day. And there were supposed to be title cards that say the day every time that happened because the story takes place across a week. But apparently the test audience didn't fuck with it, so they cut it, and that was the dumbest decision ever because now it just makes those cuts seem awkward as hell.
yeah.
And I think that probably happens with a lot of Marvel movies where we just the test audience doesn't like something and they're just trying to make this movie in a lab to be for the perfect audience. And when you make something for everyone, you make it for no one. And this
Right.
isn't that. This is a movie
Mhm.
that is trying to do something very specific. And a lot of the characters that appear in this, one major character that I'm not going to spoil just yet, Daniel Desmond Cretton came out and said that he wanted that character in this. It
Mm.
wasn't a mandate. He
I did not know
asked
that.
to have that character in this, and that says a lot
Mm.
because you would think he was just making do with what he was given. No, he asked for it. This is what he wanted to do.
That's cool.
And with that said, let's just get into spoilers because there's
Okay,
only
bet.
you can only talk about this movie so much without
Yeah.
mentioning the elephant in the room. Spoiler alert once again, just so I can edit this in because I don't know if I made it clear enough that I'm spoiling things. That is, hold on, before I even say it, no, I remember it because I was like, they said the middle name. I didn't know the middle name. The elephant in the room that is Jean Elaine Gray.
Yeah. Mm.
Spoiler alert. Jean
Yeah.
Elaine Gray. Now, it wasn't the biggest reveal in the world because we all like.
No, we
Luckily,
knew.
no. Here's the thing: it was leaked. I missed it. Thank God. It was
I
leaked
didn't see
by.
the link.
It was leaked by fucking Steve Lacy of all people.
Oh, I heard about that.
Hey yo, Steve. Hey yo, Steve. Love your album. So good. I loved it. I've legitimately been listening to it over and over again. It's a great album. Great album. I'm not even gonna say I was gonna say it was gonna be a little rude. Be quiet. Stop it. Okay. You're at the premiere of the movie. The movie's not out, brother. The movie was not out when he said that. He just got
Yeah.
up on stage. in an interview on like a podium. They're like, "Hey,
And it's like,
what was your favorite
what's your
part of the movie?" He was like, "Oh man, Gene, who?
yeah.
Gene who? Gene Hackman? Gene who? Steve? Why would you say that? I'm so happy I missed that.
Yeah.
Even though I knew it was going to be happening, I didn't want confirmation. I didn't want confirmation until I saw it in the theaters, and thank God I didn't have that ruined for me. Because
Right.
when it happened, all I could do was smile. It wasn't shock, it wasn't a gasp, because I knew, we all knew.
Yeah.
You don't just hire a redhead. And then the trailers made
Right.
it very clear as well. But god
Yes.
damn it, it was still cool as hell. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad that she's young. What I wasn't expecting is that she's younger than Peter. They explicitly say she's a teenager.
Right.
She's younger than Peter because I thought she was going to be playing the age that the actress is. She's like 24, 25. But no, she's playing a teenager, which is interesting.
Mm.
Which means that when we do get the X-Men, they're probably going to be in school. Maybe.
Right.
It's going to be a number of years from now. Maybe not. Maybe they'll be in college. But
Right.
yeah, we have Jean Grey in this movie, and she is the antagonist, which was interesting. And she does some
Yeah.
genuinely messed up shit with her powers
I know. Yeah, for sure.
that will make Damage Control's campaign against mutants like more powerful because they actually have
Yeah.
some proof to kind of back up some of their claims.
Right.
But yeah, since we're just starting there, how'd you feel about Jean?
I I didn't know that Cretton specifically requested that Jean Grey be in the film. I did not know that. But knowing that, it does make the narrative make sense. I really liked Jean Grey's inclusion in the film, and she's an antagonist in some ways. She's like a co-lead to an extent. Not that they give her that much. Like, not to say like she has an hour of film to herself, but she has like a good 25 minutes where the film is dedicated
Yeah,
to her story.
and like
Telling
the
her
third act is
boundaries.
basically her movie.
Yeah. Um, it doesn't feel distracting. It doesn't take you out of the film. It's like, oh, this is a part of the story that they're trying to tell. Gene, all of the Spider-Man stories revolve around an antagonist that's in a similar situation to where Peter is, where it's like every Spider-Man villain is a version of Peter if Peter wasn't a good person. Or if like or they're a version of Peter if like they didn't have all of them are versions of Peter without Aunt May. I feel like that's the best way I could say it. All of Spider-Man's villains or antagonists are versions of Peter, but without Aunt May. And like that's how you get Otto, who's like super genius, very smart, but did not have that type of loving background that Peter did. He didn't have an Uncle Ben and an Aunt May. So like the morality just kind of left out the window. So I think Gene being the antagonist here, it made sense and worked and fit within that narrative concept
Yeah, especially
of
since
yeah.
yeah, you're probably about to say exactly what I was about to say.
Oh, but yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, but like yeah, he's angry and
Hmm.
he's bitter because he he lost his friends, but instead of moving on, he's kind of trapped himself in a prison of his own making by just obsessing over them and hoping one day that they'll remember him without actually putting in the effort. Like 1,000 times
Right.
over, he could have had just befriended them and tried to rekindle that relationship, but
Right.
he just decided it was better for him to stay away from them because they'd be safer that way. And he isolated himself and didn't even try to make new friends. Anytime somebody
Right.
tried, he brushed them off. He just focused on being Spider-Man. He was alone. And Jean is alone. And she's angry. And
Mm.
him feeling those same feelings, but discovering towards the end of the movie how he can finally dig himself out of that hole by letting people in again is how he ultimately, you know, quote unquote, defeats Jean. And in reality, he doesn't defeat her; he saves her. Because that's what
Right.
Spider-Man does. He saves people, and
Yeah.
he helps her realize you're better than this. And I'm going to compare it to Supergirl real quick because this is something I wrote in my notes for the review that I'm doing with Bree, where in the comic, the entirety of the comic is Supergirl taking this little girl who wants revenge for a person who killed her father and trying to not trying to teach her that like she's better than that. She doesn't need that darkness to just cloud her for the rest of her life. Like this is a Jean who hasn't. I mean, she might have killed that guy who got hit by the car. We don't know, but
Yeah.
I mean, she might
Yeah.
have also killed some people when she froze like the world. But
Right.
she hasn't actively gone out of her way to commit murder. And as justified as it is, Peter doesn't want her to go down that path because it's a slippery slope, as it's always said in reference to comic book characters. And yeah, I like how they handle it. Because it's often difficult to be like, why the fuck shouldn't she kill this guy? It's always difficult to be like, there's no good goddamn reason for the hero in this situation not to murder this person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Especially in revenge tales, you're always like, you always want the revenge, and if they don't get the revenge, you're like, why? Why didn't they get the
What's
revenge?
the point? Yeah.
It's hard to write that. You have to write a really good reason for them not to get their revenge when the person they're getting their revenge on is so despicable.
Right.
Like Tillman's character is in this, and I forget the name of his character, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think they did a good job of being like, it's not that he shouldn't die, it's that she shouldn't do it because she is a kid, she's a child, and she
Right.
shouldn't have to bear the weight of murdering someone. And
Yeah.
what she really needs is community. So she's going to
Mhm.
upstate New York to Xavier Institute for Gifted Children.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love, and I'm sure anybody who knows anything was thinking it like when her sister, who I didn't know she had a sister, I'm not well versed on Jean Grey. When her sister was showing her how to use her powers, I was immediately like, this isn't her powers. Not in a bad way, but like, she's going to get an upgrade at some point because this isn't her powers. This is what her sister
Right.
can do. So she thinks this is the limit of what Jean can do. And then
Right.
at the end of the movie, she's pushed to kind of go further than what they believe her powers to be. And I was just waiting for that moment to happen. And when it happened, it was good. It was real good. Because the whole time I was just like, we haven't seen her use any telekinesis. And there's a 30-foot range. She has to jump between people's spines. That's not Jean Grey. She's way more powerful than that. So I was like, at some point, she's gonna snap and like unlock her full potential. And when she did, it was awesome. They did it in the
Yeah.
best way possible with the reveal that her sister died in captivity, being experimented on so that they can try and transfer her mutant abilities to other people that they claim will be able to use the power better. It's very like
Just
the
very.
beginning the beginning of what is going to be some very upsetting mutant stories.
Oh goodness gracious. I feel like there's a lot of cinematic potential with the X-Men, but I am kind of dreading where they go. Um, but
It can very easily
not dreading it in a way,
get
just
depressing.
like
Yeah.
very sad.
Funny enough, I'm gonna watch
Um,
X-Men 97 later tonight.
yeah. Um, the reveal of VMAX and like I thought that was just a very clever subversion and a very I don't want to say a twist, but the fact that VMAX sounds like something that would be a MacGuffin in another Marvel film. Like it could be like some substance that, if collected, could destroy the world. But no, it was just Jean's sister leaving a note of the last thing she saw. Um, yeah, it's yeah, the handling of Jean Grey in the film. Yeah, they don't, and it's not contrived like, you wouldn't be any better than him if you killed him." It's just like, you have a lot of power right now, you're very strong, and you have powers that you do not understand right now. Um, Killing this person isn't going it's literally not gonna help you, not even on some, like, "You wouldn't be any better than them," but it's just like, whatever anger you have, you have to process it. Um
Also, it like I don't think they necessarily went this route, but it's also a situation where it's like, yeah, things are already going to be bad for mutants after this, but they might have been even worse if you gave them a martyr.
Mm,
If you gave the like anti-mutant people a martyr to like rally after.
right.
It's like, see, she's out here murdering us.
Yeah, I don't know where to start. I will talk about it from a production perspective just real fast. Cinematography is great. I think it's the best cinematography of an MCU film in ages, to be honest. I think it's the best. I'm gonna just say it. I think it might be the best looking Marvel film
Yeah, I'm
of
trying to think,
the
and I'm
past.
like, just like, there's not a lot of necessarily particularly good cinematography in like most Marvel movies, unfortunately.
Yeah, like cinematography is just kind of there to get the job done. Shot, reverse shot, couple of two shots, the end. It's not very engaging or distinct in any way often. Um, Only moment in a home trilogy was when Peter was starting to discover something was up, and like the Green Goblin reveal was had at the end of No Way Home. It was an interesting cinematography, but for the most part, yeah, a lot of cinematography, a lot of the color in MCU films is very gray and brown looking, and I'm like, these are comic book characters. These panels are some of the most colorful pieces of art in the world. Why does this look like Modern Warfare 2? And I feel like with this film, it has a very rich color palette
And
and it's
Spider-Man's
very
suit
contrasty.
is so good,
Exactly.
and it stands out. The colors, it's reflective, it's bright red and
Exactly.
blue, it's simple, it's clean, it's yeah, it's great.
Hmm.
The hand ninjas and their red garb stood out very
Hmm.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just very cool use of color here. And there was an interview. It was one YouTube creator named Patrick Tommaso, and he was talking to he was talking to Daniel Dustin Cretton, and he Cretton was saying that like they wanted to push the dark colors in the film as like dark as possible and just see what they could get away with. And you can tell. It just it and the interviewer said that it almost has like a 2010s like focus features type vibe. And like almost kind of like an indie film type vibe of that time, which makes sense because that's where Cretin came from. But it just has a very distinct look to it. And yeah, the production design is great. And you can tell that they are in actual places. Like they are in actual places that look lived in. Nothing has to be imagined. It looks like they are like actually they're doing some very creative set design stuff here. Um and that's before getting into it narratively. But from a production standpoint, I think it's the best MCU film maybe since Favreau's Iron Man. Regards to creativity and the way that it's shot, regards to the set design, I think it's the best one in recent memory. Um, yeah, it's gracious. Yeah, it's a well-made film.
Yeah, but yeah, talking more about the kind of Peter story, separate from Jean. I'm very glad the movie didn't end with Peter and MJ getting back together.
Right.
I was hoping it wouldn't, and they didn't. And they had me a little concerned for a little while, but I was like, nah, it's not happening. And that's good. I feel like it would have been a huge disservice to MJ's character. And I'm glad they had her be like, yeah, nah, I don't know you. I don't love you. We could be friends though. um,
Right.
and I want to see Peter make new friends and date other people. Like,
Mm.
yes, MJ's in game. Eventually, they're gonna settle down together, okay? But not yet.
Right.
Let's build up to that. I want to see Black Cat. I want a Gwen Stacy, a Betty
Right.
Brant. Like, give me different Spider-Man love interests. Like, make us think that maybe he's gonna only be with like he's gonna be with someone else for a little while. Like, have him
Right.
date like be with someone else for like two different movies, like straight. Like, I need some like with single Peter. I need some really good relationship drama in the next movie.
Mm.
That's something that I need. I feel like we need more of that. I feel like we haven't had enough of that. I like
Yeah.
the soap opera relationship drama in comic books, especially Spider-Man comics. Give me that.
Mm. Right. Yeah, Peter's story is very cool. I think it is a cool choice that like yeah, they didn't go Peter and MJ didn't get back together. And I thought it was cool that like the reconciliation that happened at the end of the film was Peter and Ned. And I thought that that was very sweet
Yeah,
that like
friendship
it wasn't just
won the day.
exactly like not for real. Like it wasn't just it wasn't just the romantic relationship that Peter lost. It was also his friendship with Ned and like that camaraderie that they had with each other. So like
The brand new day was quite literally the friends we made along the way.
I know like that like for real it really was the friends. Um yeah, I really like that ending. Um
And it's
I
it's debatable whether or not he actually knows that's like who like he remembers who Peter is, or he's just like Peter because he knows that Spider-Man's name is Peter because MJ
mm,
said it. Like I like how they did that. They leave room
it's
for
open.
different interpretations
Yeah.
because he's like slightly magical. So maybe that kind of maybe by that combined with like Gene messing with people's minds maybe jogged it. Who knows? I kind of hope that isn't the
Maybe.
case. I kind of hope it is just yeah. He's like, oh Peter, you're Spider Man.
Right. Yeah, and I think that that would be cool. Um,
Also, the him getting like a power boost is interesting. Like, and it seems
yeah,
like
I think
it's permanent now. Like that's just the thing he can do. He can just turn Super Saiyan apparently,
which I think is tight.
and he has
And
organic webs,
right. Um,
which I don't think that means he can't use web shooters. Because I think
right.
instead, what the web shooters could become is a way to like shape the webs into different forms
Mm,
in a way
okay.
that he couldn't do with his natural body. I think that's how he might end up using web shooters going forward.
Right. Yeah. Especially in a attack that he used at the end to defeat the hand.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. Somebody was like, "This is a movie." Like this is a movie. It's crazy that that's like the bar, but like I understand it
this is
because
a
I felt the
film,
same way. It's like this is a film with an idea and a vision and a theme, which is like Peter Peter Parker and Spider-Man aren't two things that are fighting against each other. He's both of them.
and he needs a
Spider-Man and
life
Peter Parker.
outside of being Spider
Exactly.
Man. Like
Exactly.
Officer DeWolf was saying, played by I can't remember her name at the moment. I think it's Lisa Corazon or something like that.
Yeah.
From The Bear, and she was
Mhm.
great. She was great in this. Um, and like yeah, he needed a life outside of Spider Man, and I'm excited to see what that new life outside of Spider Man is, and his relationship with Frank. Like we said at the end, Frank was crying because he was like, "Oh no, my friend might be dead,"
Right.
and yeah, it was just Punisher was really good in this. I was wondering how are they going to
That's
make that work, and they did a great job making it work.
they made it work. Yeah. The best parts of the film. Yeah.
Yeah, and the Hulk. Like there's so much in this, but it all works so well that you can even forget some of the things, even the big things like the Hulk. The Incredible
Right.
Hulk, the proper Savage Hulk, returned in this movie and fought
Right.
Spider Man. And it was cool, and I hope that that goes somewhere. I hope that they do something with that. Give us a Hulk movie, goddammit. The Hulk used to
Uh,
be one of the pillars of Marvel. Now he's nobody. Give us a Hulk movie. Give us a Planet Hulk. Give me Planet Hulk, or give me Immortal Hulk. Give me something. I need a Hulk movie.
do you think that the closest we're gonna get is Thor Ragnarok?
I hope not. Like, if they're just like, we can't make a Hulk movie, like, do what you did with Thor Ragnarok. Put him in another character's movie, but low key have it still be a Hulk movie. Like, give us something.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's just, yeah. I want more Hulk.
Yeah, no, I agree because I feel like there's so many places to go with the Hawk, and they've just had him be a character in other people's films, and it's like this is a principal character in Marvel's history.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I thought Bruce Banner's inclusion was pretty cool too. Again, like so much of the film is as another main theme of the film is balance, and I think Bruce Banner being a mentor figure for Peter, again, it makes sense with the themes of the film because Bruce Banner has had to come to terms with his powers and like the potential harm that his powers can cause, and like yeah, him being a mentor for Peter in a similar way, I thought that that was cool, and it just it fits well, and again, it's not like tacked on; it makes sense.
yeah. This was just, it's a really good movie, and I'm gonna see it again Friday, and I'm very excited to watch it again and just analyze it. This time I'm gonna get some snacks because I don't usually eat
Mm,
because I might have to use the bathroom, but I will this time because I've already saw it, so I don't mind getting up to use the bathroom. But like, yeah, it's just, this movie was great.
yeah.
But I wanted to talk about the X-Men because we got one more confirmed casting. Samara Weaving will be playing Emma Frost. 100% confirmed. It's crazy. Um, but we also have a couple of rumored castings where it is rumored that David Johnson's Long Walk co-star Cooper Hoffman may be playing Cyclops, or he's at least being eyed for the role.
I was not aware that these castings were happening.
Yes,
Wait, sorry, I'm googling right now. What?
it's
Didn't
also
know.
it's also rumored that X-Men director Jake Schreier and Marvel Studios wanted Odessa Zion to, or for the role of Rogue, but Kaylee Spaney really wanted the part and went straight to Schreier to make her case, and he was convinced, and eventually got Marvel on board. Now, this, there's nothing confirming it as far as I know. This could be hearsay. It's coming from Jeff Snyder,
Okay.
but I wouldn't be surprised if it's true. Kaylee Spaney is also from the South. Is a Southern white girl. Okay, if anyone's perfect to
Okay.
play Rogue, it's a Southern white girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just, some of these are rumors. The only one that's confirmed is Samara Weaving playing Emma Frost.
Well, I mean, you're right. Marvel does not mess up when it comes to casting.
And like, yeah, I just, they're gonna slowly. I like how they're doing. They're sprinkling the X Men. They're not rushing it, which is good. They know that they can. They already they're about to reset. We got Jean. That's a good place to start. One of the originals. Um, or eventually we're gonna get others sprinkled throughout things. And I'm curious how they're gonna do that. Right? Is Emma Frost gonna show up in like Armor Wars because she has a relationship with Iron Man? That could be interesting. Like
Wait, is
Storm,
Armor Wars still a thing?
yes, well, Armor Wars, instead of being a Rhodey story, is going to be a Tony story. Rhodey's probably still going to be
Oh,
in it, but he's not going to be the main focus.
okay. Wait, so is it going to be a new person playing Tony Stark?
That's the question. That's the question.
Oh dear.
I'm putting that clip from Amazing Spider-Man 2. Where he's stepping over the rail. That's the question.
Great.
um,
But for real, that is the question.
yeah, I was curious about that too. Are they going to recast Iron Man after Robert Downey Jr. plays Doom? I wouldn't be surprised. I kind of want him to. I want them to recast the people. Give us new Captain America, new Iron Man, new Thor. You know those three kind of leading characters in the MCU. Oh fucking Yelena! See, there's so much.
That was
Fucking
a lot. Yeah, Yelena.
Yelena was in this. For Florence Pugh, um, playing Black Widow, which they've confirmed that she is now the new Black Widow. And yeah, that's cool. I don't imagine they're going to recast her, so she's probably still going to be Black Widow going forward. And like again, another thing why I'm mad that they're doing Doomsday. There's a very interesting story to tell with the new Avengers and whatever Avengers team that Sam is going to put together, and having those two teams clash in an Avengers movie that isn't a big universe-ending movie. And I hope that that opportunity isn't squandered after the shit merges. I hope that there's still room to tell that story and that it isn't somehow either forgotten or resolved in the next two Avengers movies.
Mm. And what story would this be again?
At the end of Thunderbolts, the Thunderbolts become the new Avengers, but that is with the permission of nobody who's ever been in an Avenger before. And presumably, Captain America would be the one to make a new Avengers team. So we could have those two teams clash.
Avenger versus Avenger.
Yeah. But last but certainly not least, we do have the Odyssey. I thought this movie was incredible. I went in expecting a good movie off the strength of Nolan's previous work. Despite the trailers not really selling me on it, I wasn't sure if his grounded storytelling style and visual style would fit a Greek epic, but I'm glad that I was wrong. Um, I feel like his obsession with doing as much as he can practically made everything feel real and grounded in a way that made you feel like you were on the journey with Odysseus. And because of that
Right.
groundedness, when the fantastical did appear, it carried more weight and was often terrifying.
Yeah.
And I've never read the Odyssey, but I knew a lot about the story based on various books, films, and games that take inspiration from it. But there was still plenty that surprised me, like how much focus there is on Odysseus's son Telemachus and his wife Penelope, and just the goings on of Ithaca in general. But a few months ago, I read Song of Achilles, which is an interpretation of the Iliad by Madeline Pryor, told from the perspective of Patroclus, and having the context of the decade-long Battle of Troy that takes place before the film in my head, definitely I feel like added to my enjoyment. It's not necessary information for you to have, but I feel like if you do know the Battle of Troy already, then it does help a lot with kind of like understanding the context of certain things going on. But yeah, great movie. You got to see it in IMAX if you can. I know IMAX screens aren't everywhere, so
Yeah.
it's great that it's not just an IMAX. It'd be crazy if it was, but like IMAX is definitely the best way to see it if you can. But yeah, what did you think?
Yeah. Um, Same with you. Same thoughts. Because we was talking about it on the show. I was iffy about Nolan's style and it being used for yeah, like a Greek epic. I was concerned too. Um, because yeah, the trailers looked so grounded to the point that they just didn't really catch my eye that much. And I knew that it would be well made because it's a Nolan film. And also he has some of the best people in the industry working on his films. So shout out Hoyt van Hoytema behind the camera, behind giant cameras. Like I don't want to just stay stuck on production, but the fact that they shot this entire
That's the type
thing
of insight I
using,
look for.
yeah, okay, bet, say less. um, yeah, I one reel of IMAX film is only 3 minutes long, and IMAX cameras, along with being these giant cameras, they and on top of them being heavy, they are also the loudest things imaginable because they're spooling that film in real time. So they had to create a dome to quiet the IMAX camera so they could shoot film. Because yeah, like in the way that we've consumed IMAX growing up, IMAX is only reserved for action scenes. There's not often cases where dialogue scenes or scenes where there's heavily like a heavy amount of talking are used in an IMAX context. It's like Sinners. Sinners
Yeah,
reserved IMAX for a lot of
I
the
was gonna say that.
bigger set pieces.
Like the
You feel
the
me?
the moment I always remember when it goes, to IMAX is when we're first introduced to damn, it's been a while since I watched the movie. I need to watch it a fourth time or maybe fifth with you on a 4K Blu-ray.
Oh, for sure.
But the moment you're introduced to the vampire, it goes to
Right.
IMAX. Um, and yeah, it's good.
Right. So, and fact that they shot the entire thing in IMAX in itself is a feat. Um, yeah, I was going and expecting a solid film because again, some of the best production and like some of the best crew folks in the business. And also shout out to Emma Thomas, um, who has been producing just about all of Christopher Nolan's stuff for almost his entire career. Because I can't imagine the logistics and the amount of work that went into shooting on locations where things have never been shot before. So thought that it was very cool that they were even able to get this done. But yeah, outside of the production standpoint, I was going in expecting a decent film and left the theater feeling as though I've watched one of the best epic films ever made and something that I've never seen before. Like it's one of those films where you immediately know that it's entering the cinematic canon. It's like the film equivalent of watching Simone Biles do a trick that you've seen nobody else do. It's That's how it felt watching the Odyssey because there's just so many things happening all at once. And yeah, this film was legit an achievement, not just from a production standpoint, but from a scale standpoint. Um, this is the one of the biggest films I've seen. I literally like it's just a big film, and yeah, it's just very ambitious, and it's a huge swing, and there's just so many moving parts, and you're just watching it on his IMAX screen, and it feels like it's overwhelming you almost. It feels like you're being sucked into the world. Um, yeah, trying to keep it spoiler free as possible, but yeah,
It's
from
we can start getting to spoilers now.
okay,
So yeah,
say less, but
spoiler alert. If you haven't seen it's weird to even say spoiler for the Odyssey, but
right. No, yeah, it is kind of
somehow
weird.
you know nothing about the Odyssey. We're gonna spoil the Odyssey, and we're gonna spoil the movie
Right,
specifically, which I guess you can spoil that. But like, yeah,
right. Yeah.
leave now if you don't want to be
Um,
spoiled.
yeah, if you haven't seen the SpongeBob movie, leave.
That's funny. That's
But
really funny. That is the Odyssey. Holy shit! I never realized.
yeah, yep,
It just straight up is the. Oh my god! I never thought about that.
it is. Yep. But yeah. Along with the SpongeBob movie, this film joins a lot of the other great Odyssey adaptations. But yeah, Nolan made a it's a running thing about a lot of Nolan's films being about men that spend too much time in with their work. But I feel like Nolan used the narrative format of the Odyssey and the themes of the Odyssey to make a film about, and it's not just war is bad. I feel like that's very reductive. It's
The
uh
Nolan he came out and said that uh ultimately the Odyssey is about the idea that society can only function through respect for strangers. And he believes that despite nearly 3,000 years since Homer wrote the epic, that fundamental truth about human nature hasn't changed. And yeah, the movie is about the fact that I mean, you don't learn this till the very end, but it's essentially the fact that Odysseus broke Zeus's law. He broke the rule that you should be kind to your neighbors, that you should help people, even if they're a stranger entering your home for the first time. And that kind of resulted in a bunch of people deciding to break that rule after hearing the story of how he and a bunch of other Greek soldiers did that.
oh yeah. And he yeah, Nolan used that format and that narrative as a way to, and there's been a lot of talk of this film being a companion piece to Oppenheimer, which is very much so a film about a man that created a thing that became bigger than him and had negative effects on the world around him.
Mm.
And this film definitely exists within that thematic concept where, Odysseus did something so foul and so wrong. And, you know, the people of the water were them.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, which was a good reveal in
Yeah,
itself.
that was
But
a great reveal, and yeah, just the full reveal of the Battle of Troy in that moment. We keep seeing pieces of it. Eventually, we see like the
yeah.
entirety of the Trojan horse being smuggled in, or them bringing it in as a gift, and them sneaking out and opening the gates, and a epic shot of Agamemnon just standing there waiting, aura farming,
Not
so
for real.
good. And yet, after seeing all of that, we don't see the actual full battle and the anarchy that results in them getting in there until the very end when he's talking to Penelope and her saying the people from the water was you. They were you. They were you. They were the Greek soldiers. And we see Zendaya looking at him, crying. Athena, she's playing. And there's a conversation being had about like whether or not the the head being cut off the statue and the woman's head being cut off is just a representation of Athena's head being cut off, or if he did actually see like a priestess of Athena get their head cut off, and the statue also got his head cut off, and that's why he sees Athena as that woman. I like to think of it as just being a representation of the statue's head being cut off, but I definitely could see it the other way as well. And there's also a very specific um, thought that we left the theater with that I'm curious if you still think this way, that kind of like essentially a lot of this is kind of Athena's doing, where my thought process is that Odysseus upset his patron goddess by breaking Zeus's law with a gift in her name, and despite her love for him, she decided to punish him for that crime. And that's revealed at the end of the movie to have caused a domino effect on the rest of Greece, of people breaking that sacred law. And some people say that maybe it wasn't necessarily her punishing him; it was the rest of the gods, especially Zeus, because it's called Zeus's law after all. Um, but I do like the interpretation that Athena kind of sparks it because he spurned her after all she's done for him.
I think that's a part of it for sure. I still have that thought in my head for sure.
The pacing of this movie is also immaculate. It hops all over the place in terms of timeline, but you never feel confused. Like, at least I didn't. I feel like it all felt so clear, and part of that is likely due to the fact that, as I alluded to earlier, Nolan wanted this movie to be longer, but it literally could not be longer because IMAX film reels can only, or can't hold longer than 3 hours of footage. And thank God, because that would have been crazy. But because of
Yeah.
that, the fat had to be significantly trimmed so that this was under 3 hours. So everything that's in this movie is just like what was necessary to tell the story, which is why it's so well paced. It only left us with the part of the stories that we needed. And yeah, it just results in a story that I feel like you can't really get lost or confused necessarily. You can get lost in it, of course, but I mean, like, you can't be confused. Like, you always know where you're at in the timeline of everything that's happening, and that's a that's an incredible feat to have achieved in a movie, especially this
Right.
long.
Yeah.
That felt long, but not necessarily 3 hours long.
Right. Yeah. It didn't feel 3 hours long at all. And uh, the disjointedness thematically makes sense
Yeah,
considering where Odysseus is, because Odysseus is disjointed and he doesn't truly recognize the extent to what he did.
Yeah,
And it's like we're having that moment of realization alongside him of like, oh, am I the asshole? It's
yeah,
like we're having that with him. Um and again,
yeah.
like,
We get the great reveal that um, Calypso had been poisoning him with a flower for 7 years and keeping him on her island. And he maybe could have gotten home within 3 years, but Calypso kept him there for a very long time because she fell in love with him. And yeah, it takes a while before we get to that point. I feel like before
yeah,
that's
it does.
revealed, but that
It
makes
takes a
kind
bit.
of the disjointedness of the story make more sense because he is narrating the story the entire time, and his narration is him telling the story to Calypso, and
which
it's
which again is so clever. It's very clever to do it that way. The Battle of Troy being parsed throughout the film. Again, it just, I really like how they did the Battle of Troy because they could have made it a full set piece
mm.
for it, they could have did a 20-minute set piece.
I want to see a version of it where someone like cuts it all together.
Yeah, that could be
That
pretty cool.
that could be real cool.
It's like, oh, they're doing the Trojan horse thing, and it's like, oh, they're doing the Trojan horse thing, and then when you see it for the
Yeah,
last time in film, they're like, oh, 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 um, and he adapted the text to fit within a modern time,
hmm
which, considering what is going on from a global perspective and a lot of the genocide that is going on, whether talking about Palestine or talking about Sudan or Congo, like the fact that he adapted it in a way that sadly is contextual with war crimes and just like Zeus's law, but also like this internal human law we all have being destroyed and disintegrated in front
yeah.
of us. And yeah, it just, I could understand like classicists or folks that are like familiar with Homer's text not messing with it. Like the person that wrote the translation that Nolan was inspired by. I can understand her being frustrated by certain things,
But it's also
but
to
I
me
do
that's
think that
wild because like
yeah,
it's a movie. It's like
exactly.
it was never going to be a direct adaptation. Like that's not what this was meant to be.
And I don't think like, I don't want Nolan to do a direct adaptation of it.
Also, nobody knows whether or not Homer even actually wrote the Odyssey. Some people believe that he might have stolen it. He might have just been the first person to write it down, not necessarily the person to create the story. So it's all adaptation, really.
Right. Yeah, it could have been oratory. And then he was just like, oh, I'm write that down, write that down. Yeah. Wow. So is it's such an old story that I feel like getting on a filmmaker for not capturing the exact beats of a story that is older than Jesus Christ is very interesting. Um
Yeah.
so yeah, I for the times that we're in, thematically, I think Nolan wanted to tell a specific adaptation that fit within what he wanted to tell, and he did that, and he did it well.
Yeah,
Like
it's
it's
ultimately
a
about the
yeah,
fact that society can only function through respect for strangers, for each other. And without that respect, society collapses. And, we see the beginning of that in the Odyssey. And, Odysseus trying to, make up for that. And Odysseus is a character, Matt Damon, incredible performance. And Odysseus is a man haunted by the mistake of his victory. And he's not only being punished, but he's also punishing himself because he doesn't diverge from Agamemnon's path so that he can finally be free of following his orders. He does it because he wants to get lost at sea. He says as much when he describes the siren songs. The siren song. He says, "It's the promises I failed to keep, and it told me that I don't really want to go home." Because he knows what he did was wrong, and he doesn't really want to go home. And and I just want to just go through some bullet points of some things that happened. the Cyclops, that was a great moment. Um, that whole scene of them trying to find a way to get out of the Cyclops. We didn't get to him like tricking the Cyclops into saying he was nobody. That would have been cool, but he cut that out. Understandably, there's a lot of movie. Maybe it wasn't there, and it was one of the things that got cut. But him taunting it at the end was such a crazy thing for him to do.
So why
Why did he do that? Why did he do that?
dog?
He just
Come
got
on
more
now,
people
dog.
killed. All of his soldiers was
Exactly.
like, "Hey, yo, Odysseus. Hey, bro, what's going on?"
That's what they like, let me talk to you real fast. Let me talk to you. That's why they was rushing him on Hades.
Yeah, it's like, bruh. And the amount of times they were running across beaches back to the ships was hilarious. It happened at least 4 times. It was crazy. The light dragonians were wild, and
I know they was.
the giant baby that was the size of them, and then the other men were bigger. It was crazy. And the way they, was it the person who doubled Matt Damon was a woman who just had super jacked arms. So like from behind in full armor, it just looked like it was him. And obviously, people like 7 feet tall. It's like forced perspective is just it was cool how they did that. And the music. We haven't talked about the music.
Oh,
Ludwig
Ludwig
Göransson.
Göransson.
Oh my god. Incredible job as usual. And I've been listening to the Siren song on repeat. And the Siren song
Me
is
too,
basically
yo.
just a shortened version of Odysseus's own theme, which is also really good. But it's softer all throughout, whereas Odysseus's theme towards like the middle starts to get like epic and loud. I'm like, no, I want the soft
Yeah.
version. And the Siren song is shorter and it's soft all the way throughout. And it reminds me of Metal Gear Solid 4. I feel like Metal Gear Solid 4 uses like similar instruments and has a very similar soundtrack. And it especially reminds me of a song that's not even from 4. I think it's in 4, but it's not necessarily, or it wasn't originally there. It was in the first game called The Best Is Yet to Come. And it made me think, you know what? I feel like Christopher Nolan would actually make a really good Metal Gear Solid movie. Like I never thought about it. Of all the people I thought about it, I'm like, wait a minute. He's perfect. He would be able to make it as weird as it needs to be.
He would.
And he'd be able
He
to tell a
would.
really good story about nuclear disarmament. Like, if we're gonna,
Can't disagree. He
like,
would.
he's made a comic book movie. Nolan. Video game movies are the new comic book movie. I need you to make Metal Gear. Kojima, you're into film. Go talk to Nolan, bro.
Yeah,
Go talk to Nolan.
Because directors love Kojima.
Directors
Yeah.
love Kojima, bro. Nolan needs to talk to Kojima. But maybe if he talked to Kojima, he wouldn't do it because it's Konami's property. But talk to Konami or something like make something together. Like, I don't know, man. Put Nolan in your next game. He loves putting directors in his games.
Yeah, touching on the score. Goranson's on a run, and he's really been like I don't even know where to start. He just really his scores aren't just epic for epic's sake. They're contextual to the film, and he just really has a cool attention for detail. Like this, he has certain like trademarks because Ludwig Göransson he loves to use an 808. He will use an 808 drum. But score for Sinners doesn't sound like this score. Score for Tenet doesn't sound like this. Score for Oppenheimer doesn't sound like this. The Black Panther score, the Creed score, it's just like the Creed score is great, which is a very tough assignment.
Oh yeah, Bill, like coming off of Bill Conti on Rocky. Come on now, that like Bill Conti's soundtrack for Rocky 2 is legitimately one of my favorite film scores of all time.
Like, actually, it's phenomenal. And he was like, you know what, I'm gonna take on that assignment, and he did it well. Like the Creed score stands well on its own as a score. So yeah, Ludwig Göransson has really been on a run, and here looking into the story about how they recreated instruments that would have been used at the time, and how they ditched the orchestra purposely because they wanted to have more, like, orchestras didn't exist back then. So, like, the fact that they legitimately stuck to a smaller, you know, chamber style type of composition, I thought that that was cool. And it's a very sparse score. It's very sparse. It's no strings. It's none of that. It's just synths and instrumentation that would be used at the time. So it's just cool. It's very cool. Film is cool. Film is great. I
Film
love
is great,
movies.
and people have just been going to the movies more or now more than they have in years since the pandemic, and it's good. It's a good time. It's a good time. I forgot to mention that Spider Man is on track to make like $2 billion.
Oh, they going crazy. They already
Yeah,
passed a billion.
yeah, I know, which is
Yeah.
wild. But to wrap this up, something you pointed out that because I wasn't looking at the screen when it happened, but I love that there was a dedication to David Keighley, father of
Yeah.
Game Awards founder and host Jeff Keighley, who helped create the IMAX format alongside his wife Patricia, and of course a great many other people. But he passed away a year or so ago, and the Academy didn't dedicate shit to him. But
Which is
you know if
nice.
anybody's gonna dedicate something to him, it's gonna be Mr. IMAX himself, Christopher Nolan.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
like David Keeley's name needs to be at the end of every credits that use IMAX.
Yeah. And the cool thing is that the IMAX camera that was used to film it is called the Keeley.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, if you guys didn't know, Jeff Keeley's Nepo baby.
Right, yeah.
Nepo baby for good.
Yeah, like cool Nepo baby.
Yeah, like what's his name? Jack Quaid.
Right. Yeah. They exist. They exist.
They exist. Or like even Angelina Jolie, who I only found out was a Nepo baby very recently.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Like I was just like, that's her dad? I didn't know this. I was like, I didn't know Angelina Jolie was a Nepo baby. That's wild. But yeah, she's also a pretty cool person. Like this stuff she does personally. Like she's pretty cool.
Solid person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
solid person, solid person. You know, I don't want anybody on a pedestal. You know these people don't buy closed doors, but she seems like a cool person. But yeah, that's all I got. We've been recording forever. I knew this episode was gonna be long as hell. I'm gonna have so much.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Um, this episode, this might be an episode that goes up late. We'll see if I could get this up on Monday. You can find all of our ads in the link in the description. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so you're notified when we post. Peace.
Peace.